Right now, while most of us are at home self-quarantining, it's a really good time to think about how we deal with this feeling of stuckness. Stick around till the end of the video because I'm going to answer some questions some of you guys had about things I brought up in earlier videos. Action is the antidote to despair. Joan Baez. Shelter pet adoptions are at an all-time high right now, which is a really good thing because animals will keep you active. And taking action is a really great way to deal with this feeling of stuckness. It doesn't have to be an action with great meaning, but taking a small action, like calling a friend you know lives alone, checking on them, getting in the kitchen and making a healthy snack instead of eating the rest of the cookies. I want to share some of this article by Seth Sugar. It really deals with children, and those of us who are parents of adult children may feel like this information is not all that useful for you. But in fact, it's really useful for all of us because we all need a sense of play in our lives, especially now when things feel a little bit heavy. The article starts with this information. Play is how kids recover from the considerable stresses and strains of their pint-sized lives. Parenting expert Patty Wipfler puts it better than anyone when she says, "The most powerful antidote to fear is play." If you want to read the entire article with links to useful information, you can click below on the link under Therapist Coach Seth Sugar's name. For many of us, we may be in the second, third, or even fourth week of self-quarantine. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Lao Tzu. Even though I've already raised my kids, I still want to play like a kid. There are ways that you can play without guilt. And by the way, one of the best quotes that I've ever heard is, "Guilt is how we punish ourselves so we can go back and repeat a behavior." Don't worry about feeling guilty about how you're living your life right now. I think there are people who feel like we should be suffering more while we're at home, and it's hard to admit, actually, I'm having a pretty relaxed life right now. Reach out to those people who are in need right now. But for me, we have a pretty relaxed situation, and if you're in that situation, there's no reason to buy trouble by thinking that everything is falling apart and watching 2-3 hours of news every day to find out how the entire nation is crumbling. I have slowed down a little bit of my video making because I've been doing other things. Some of the things I've been doing include sewing. I discovered that I had left my sewing machine untouched for nearly a year. And I sewed a dress using some beautiful fabric that my daughter brought me back from Thailand. And that was a lot of fun. I've been doing a little bit of cleaning, but I'm not madly cleaning. I'm cleaning, which is kind of nice. I don't avoid the news altogether. I read the New York Times briefing just about every day. It takes me about 30 minutes to get through it. There's no reason really to inundate yourself with news unless you're watching some good news, SGN, which by the way I highly recommend, with John Krasinski. Stick to videos of happy things that you enjoy. God provides the wind, but man must raise the sails. St. Augustine. I want to talk about snacking as an activity, which for me it has always been an activity. But I'm more aware of it now than I ever have been because I think there's a Japanese saying that something along the lines of, "My mouth is lonely." I definitely feel that. I feel that. The food is accessible. I'm not necessarily engaged in activities that would keep me from eating. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to be eating any more chocolate chip cookies or Pillsbury croissants. You can make some small changes to the way you eat and make it fun. I found this recipe, for instance, in this magazine. There was a recipe in it from Jennifer Garner, who hosts a thing called the Pretend Cooking Show, and the recipe is for kale chips. Okay, I know. Before you say, I did it slightly different than she did because I didn't have any grated Parmesan, but I'm going to say if I had some, that would probably wildly improve the kale chips. But as it was, they turned out really good, and it was something crunchy that I can leave out on the table And just when I walk by and my mouth wants to be entertained, I'll just grab a kale chip and pop it in. She says put it on a rack in a cooking sheet in the oven, and I really didn't have that. I patted mine down with paper towels to dry them out from all of the water and olive oil, and then I put them on paper towels on the oven rack so that they wouldn't drip into the bottom of the oven, and the paper towels won't catch fire because the oven's not hot enough. Science fact. Paper burns at 451 degrees Fahrenheit. When I pulled those babies out, they were super, super crunchy. These chips were so good. Ooh, a secret is you do want to cut the stems out. Cut the stems out before you put them in the oven. And then once they're out of the oven, man, I've eaten them all. They're gone. They were delicious. I'd have to make some more because now I'm down to the croissant roll dough. I need more produce. Speaking of more produce, I want to give a shout out to our local produce people. Karen and Doug Griesevich have Grow RVA, and if you know of a farmer's market in your area, support them. Many farmers markets are doing drive-by business. You go by, you get your sack, you pay, wear your mask, then make sure you wash everything fully when you get home. Eating healthy right now is probably one of the best things you can do for your body and for your immune system. We have a bowl of cut up vegetables in the fridge, and I could just put those out on the table. We've got cauliflower and carrots. You know, anytime you walk by and you think, I would like a cookie, eat a piece of cauliflower. Your body will thank you for it. Nothing happens until something moves. Albert Einstein. I decided to go ahead and do a workout that was offered by our local River Gym owner. So here in Colonial Beach, we have a place called River Gym. It's a wonderful, wonderful gym, but it's closed right now, of course, to keep people safe. So Bobby, the owner, did an online workout video for people who belong to the gym, and I showed up for the online workout video, and I think we need to get more people out there because she was able to comment on my form, and I was kind of hoping to hide out a little bit. Anyway, it was a really great workout. It was a lot of fun. So keep a lookout if you're a member of River Gym and you want to do one of these workouts. It's so worth doing. I actually felt really great afterwards. It's called a senior stretch. You don't have to have weights to do this in your house. I used a couple of cans of soup. You can use water bottles. There are any number of things that you can use as weights while you're doing these exercises. I need to get bigger cans.
What are they, soup?
These are Progresso. I think these are like a pound and plus 2.5 ounces.
Awesome.
Small deeds done are better than great deeds planned. Peter Marshall. Another thing I've been sharing, and I did videos, I'll put a connect up here so that you can check out those videos on connecting with family and friends through video chat. Calling someone you love is clearly an act of kindness for the other person to let them know you're thinking about them, especially if it's someone who lives alone. Set aside some time to really listen and hear what they're thinking about. Do your best to veer away from the dark news and talk about some of the things that you've been doing at home. Now, the reason why this is a kindness to you is because you need to be connected as well. I recommend reaching out to friends and family, and like I said, I have this video. Actually, there are 2 of them. Includes links to tutorials that will teach you step by step how to use your smartphone, your iPad, your computer to be able to make those video connections. Take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Getting outside's not easy for everyone because some people live in a place where getting outside means bumping into people. So you have to be aware that when you get outside, if you live in a populated area or an area where people are outside a lot, then that might be a good time to start wearing your mask and make sure that you practice the social distancing by standing a minimum of 6 feet apart. Getting outside is so important right now. We're stuck in a small space, maybe by ourselves, maybe with 1, 2, 3, 4, even 5 other people, and you need to get some time away. B, getting outside, it's just good for you. It's good for your heart. I am so lucky because I live next to the Potomac River, and it is absolutely beautiful. Made even more beautiful lately because I can see the other shore more clearly than I ever have. I think it's because pollution has been reduced. It's a weird upside of the coronavirus. The world we're living in is seeing a stark reduction in air pollution. And it's one that's quite visible. Our local groundhog, Lance Hollywood, made an appearance. Now it's time to answer some questions. The first question is, someone wanted to know more about charisma points. I am from a family of gamers. My husband and daughter, my son-in-law, my son too, play a game called Fallout. When a character gets points for certain things, so like you might have someone who has great intellect or they're really strong, and they get points for these various things. There are also points for something called charisma. And that's if you're really handsome or beautiful, or you talk really well to people, or you're a great salesperson. You have charisma points. My husband says that when I wear my helmet of beauty, which is my curlers, and I take it off, my hair looks so good that I get 2 extra charisma points. And that's pretty good, or so I'm told. I had a question about our home theater. I have an old projector. I've had it for years. And I use this projector to connect to my computer using a thing called a dongle. Sometimes a dongle is just a dongle. When I connect the dongle to my MacBook, you can connect your projector and then you also connect your speakers, and you can project a movie onto a screen or wall. There's the projector. There's the wall. When we moved in, we knew we didn't want to have a TV in the house because we have a tendency to just have the TV on all the time. And this way, we have to be really intentional about what we're going to watch. So we choose a program every night that we're going to watch, and that's our projector time. We connect everything, we sit back in our comfy chairs, and we watch the wall. It works pretty well. The last question I have is, what is George is my husband, doing during the pandemic? So Michael, this is in answer to your question.
I drink a lot of coffee. I take the dog for a walk about every hour when he decides it's time to go out for another walk. Yes, there he is. I play video games to pass the idle hours, and I read, and I eat almost all the time.
Thanks, you guys. I really appreciate you all watching this, and I love being able to share this with you. This is keeping me sane because this is how I play. If there's anything in this video that's useful and you want to share it with someone, please do. I would really love to build up to the point where I had 100 subscribers, because that way I can actually name my YouTube channel Study of One. Right now it's named with a bunch of gobbledygook because you have to have at least 100 subscribers to give it a dedicated name. So share it, subscribe to it, enjoy it, and like it if you like it. Thanks, you guys. Stay safe. You are loved. You are cherished. And we'll get through this together. I don't want anybody to make it mean anything that he didn't say anything about spending time with his wife.
Well, of course I spend time with my wife. That's really the joy of the day. I didn't want to give away any marital secrets, however.
A marital secret is have a sense of humor and find ways to spend time apart.
Yes.
Fair enough.